Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is officially Friday, October 11th, folks. We survived another week of the Biden-Harris administration. And let me tell you, it's been a doozy. And we can't handle another 4 years of all this shenanigans, all this lawlessness of an executive branch that doesn't want to carry out the laws, of you being second-class citizens in your own country. Folks, biggest election of our lifetimes is coming up. I see all the Patriots in the live chat. We got a lot of you, and it's only growing, folks. If you could, hit that like button right off the bat. It does help support our channel, and it pushes our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Well, folks, Mayor Eric Adams sits there and puts taxpayers on the hook for how much? $1.6 billion on migrants. Maybe through 2029. Who knows? We're just shooting from the hip right now. This guy is falling apart, and he's allowing New York to do it as well. Mayor Eric Adams, prospect of winning a second term. Jeez, I told you, the insanity continues. They will continue to vote blue forever. Or even finishing the first are increasingly uncertain. But he's trying to ensure that one big future of his mayoralty stays in office, even if he doesn't. Billions of dollars in taxpayer money to put migrants up in hotels. While the veterans are on the streets, while Americans are just sleeping everywhere out there. But we'll make sure we put the migrants up in hotels, and you're going to pay for it. As I've always mentioned, you're paying for your own bills, but you're also paying for everybody else's bills. Governor Hochul should step in to nix his latest contract bid, which would and could have border crossers in hotel rooms until 2029. Folks, he wants to put migrants up there. City Hall announced Wednesday that it will close the 3,000 capacity Randall's Island tent shelter, scene of 2 murders by February. Remember when we showed the whole clip of these encampments that they've built for these migrants, and they had Xboxes, plasma TVs, cell phone services, laundry services, recreational services, bedding, full beds. They got couches, coffee tables, revolving menu. This one really astonishes me. It wasn't that we were just giving them food, right, so they could feed themselves. No, we were giving them food that was catered to the country of which they're coming from, and it revolves, meaning that if you have breakfast, that country's breakfast will be served, and you have a lot of different countries that are at that shelter. And it's the same thing for lunch and dinner. It's astonishing. Air conditioning. I was waiting for the inflatable jacuzzis to show up because it wouldn't surprise me because you're all paying for it and this guy's allowing it to happen. And to be more specific, it's not just this guy, it's the Democrats that are allowing it to happen. Have you ever seen the Democrats flip on a dime so quickly regarding a subject, meaning immigration? Remember, just like 4 years ago, it wasn't even really 4 years ago, I would say 2.5, it was still racist to want to deport people. It was racist to sit there and want to build a border wall. It was racist to do all these things. You were a bigot. The fact that you were even talking about it, you're sick, right? Now all of a sudden Democrats want to do it. Now all of a sudden majority of Americans are on board about all this stuff. It's really remarkable. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. We have Mud Whistle with the $50 sticker on YouTube. What is going on? Mud Whistle coming out banging. I love to see it. Thank you, sir. That's a salute right there. You are keeping the lights on for us. Greatly appreciated. And like Secret Agent said, hit the button, subscribe, and share. That was really nice of you, man. Wow. Okay. That knocked me off the wall. Look at that. Putting the money into a conservative rather than putting money into migrants like the Democrats want to do. Again, that's a double salute. Double salute. So he bragged that his policy of getting single adult migrants who stay there to move on after 30 or 60 days has been effective. We covered this. It's not effective at all. So this is what they're doing. It's a total manipulation. It's actually really messed up. So it's a revolving door. What they're doing is you could stay 30 or 60 days, right, in that migrant shelter, that migrant encampment. But then they're going to give you the boot. And then the next group comes in and takes it up for 30 to 60 days. And what you're seeing is just cyclical. So they're just shifting. And at one point or another, that same group that was originally in that shelter is going to wind up back in that shelter as well. And so that was a story that we covered, is that they're just jumping from shelter to shelter. So maybe you have 2 or 3 shelters set up. You go from this shelter for 30 to 60 days, and then a new group comes in, and the original group will shift to this shelter, and then it just goes around. And so it makes it seem like, oh, well, we're doing a great job. No, you're not. And he's been begging Biden for billions of dollars as well. I mean, their whole infrastructure is just completely collapsed. And also their education system has completely collapsed as well. They don't have enough teachers in there to speak different languages to support all these people. And again, it's not just Hispanics. It's also Chinese people coming in. I mean, they're coming from all different countries, like 150. So here's Donald Trump's spokeswoman who's taken over from Kayleigh McEnany. And, well, I think she's saying a lot of what we're saying here.
American people are essentially subsidizing free lifestyles for illegal immigrants who break our country's laws. American taxpayers who are struggling to put food on the table, buy groceries, buy gasoline to fill up their vehicles, struggling to afford their mortgage payments, which have increased 50% since Kamala Harris took office. And then we're using billions and billions of our tax dollars to give illegal immigrants free stays in luxury hotels, to give them prepaid debit cards to buy diapers and clothing and food for their families. It is fundamentally unfair and it is un-American. Kamala Harris wants to keep all of these illegal immigrants here. President Trump is going to deport them back to their home countries.
All
and
of them?
He's
Wait, is he going to deport all of them? Wait, hang on.
American
Sorry,
families.
Caroline, hang on a second. Is he going to deport illegal aliens accused of crimes or all illegal immigrants?
He is going to deport all of the illegal immigrants that Kamala Harris has allowed.
The hell face is she giving there? The chick in the freaking pink. This is Fox Business, by the way. First of all, lady, you are in the news. Like, you would think you would know his plan. And JD's done this explicitly where, how are you going to sit there and fashion this? How are you going to do it? You have to increase ICE. You have to increase the localities in terms of the police departments willing to sit there and expose the fact there's an illegal immigrant in this household or somewhere on the streets or in this migrant shelter, whatever it may be. And then also utilize our military, because this is going to be a massive deportation operation like we saw from Eisenhower, except like 10x plus. Then you have to sit there and go, okay, well, who are we going to start with first? Because you can't just sit there and start knocking on all the doors. Let's go after the criminals, the murderers, the sex offenders, the drug, right? The gang members, those people that are doing all these things. And you start with them, and then you have it trickle its way down to other people. So this whole idea of like, you're going to deport everybody, I don't think he is, truthfully, because I don't think there's enough time in 4 years. But I think he's going to start with a lot of the criminals and the bad people, which is a good thing.
To come into this country, the largest mass deportation operation in history. But we're going to start with the convicted criminals. We know there's nearly 500,000 of them. Kamala wants them to stay. President Trump is going to make them go home.
Carol.
Bye-bye. 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 Adios. Sayonara. So, look, good, because, again, it's causing everything to go up in price. And how much, I'm not exactly sure, because we're not exactly sure how many illegal immigrants are here. We're not exactly sure what the bill looks like because the government doesn't tell us. That's why. Can you imagine what the subsidy looks like and all this stuff? The medical, right? The education expense, them causing your grocery prices to go up because they're buying the same food as you are. Your taxes going up in some way, shape, or form. I mean, everything goes up because you have more than half the population of our states here in terms of people here illegally. Well, they pay taxes too, not in the same proportion of what services they're taking from the system, but Democrats will pretzel their way into some sort of logic that it's okay for people to do that. In the same way they pretzeled their way into the logic of, well, it's okay to come here illegally. It's okay to sit there and cut the line. But it's funny, those same people that say those types of things and they're at an amusement park or they're in the grocery line or they're in some sort of line and they've only been standing there for 10 minutes and somebody cuts their ass, all of a sudden they're up in arms, right? All of a sudden they get all pissed off when somebody cuts them off in line when they're in some small theme park or whatever. But somebody that's been waiting in line for years and paid thousands of dollars to be a citizen in this country and somebody cuts in front of them, God forbid that you speak up and you're a little pissed off. But again, the rationale is completely out the window, and the pretzel flopping and mixing and twisting is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Folks, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, if you're enjoying and having fun here on the Bald Brad channel, and I appreciate you choosing our outlet or our channel to get your news first thing in the morning, hit that like button. And also, why don't you subscribe already? What are you doing? Follow us over at Rumble. We're building that platform out over there because screw the commies on YouTube.